Jasmine. I'm the author of Blood of Hercules. I write dark fantasy romance books that are slow burn with a lot of tension, a lot of build up, and then eventually a lot of steam once everyone figures everything out. So I also write sarcastic stories with a lot of internal dialogue and books that are funny, the type that make you laugh out loud while you're reading. So today I'm going to share some tips and tricks on how to write humor in romance books, or honestly, I guess in any type of book, just in case if you were looking for some advice on how to go about it yourself. If you're a writer, I know there's lots of writers out there and people are always looking for help. Or if you are someone who just thinks it's interesting how the writing process comes about for authors. So my first trick for writing humor is to go with the unexpected. So the key is with humor in general, at least from what I've found and what I've read and seen, is that humor, things are funny if you're not expecting it to happen. So the best, it's like A happens and then all of a sudden, instead of B happens, X happens, just in generic example. So you're walking somewhere, like the classic is like, oh, you slip on a banana peel. But I think the funny part of even that type of joke is that someone's walking and then all of a sudden they're on the ground. So like you weren't expecting them to fall, and that's what makes it funny. And when writing romance, it's the same exact thing. So if you're in the middle of a scene, something's happening, and then all of a sudden the character out of left field starts talking about a whale, this is just an example, but some of you may know what I'm referring to, that will usually like make a person laugh. Like humor is not I would say it's not a science, it's kind of like an art. Like it's one of those things where who knows what is funny, but a lot of the biggest like advice is to try to do something unexpected. And a lot of times, sometimes humor can feel cringy. It can be making a joke about something that's like embarrassing, or saying something that's just kind of weird, honestly, or like making up a word, or just doing something unexpected. But it's the unexpectedness of it that I think really is what makes people laugh. And then also my second tip for writing humor would be try to just write something. Just try to write jokes. Like it could be not a good joke and you might read that and be like, oh, that was embarrassing. But I think the key is to just try. So usually I will try to add jokes as I'm writing the story, just things that I think are funny. But then sometimes I might late at night be in like a funny mood, and I'll go back and I'll write in places, I'll read it and be like, oh, that'd be funny. Oh, this would be interesting. And you can, if you're just feeling funny, just try to write some funny stuff in. So that is my advice for if you're trying to write humor. I would say just go for it. I've also think the funniest thing I've ever written, which it's subjective, so may or may not be true, is I was like 2-3 days into all-nighters. Like the deadlines, I was a lawyer at the time, there's a lot going on. And my mom was also up with me, and it was 3 a.m. And we started to like write a joke, and I was like crying laughing as I wrote it. And I was like, I might be delirious, like this might not be funny. And I sent to my mom, and then she called me on FaceTime, and she was also crying laughing. And to this day, it's still not clear if it was because we were both so sleep deprived, but I think there's something to be said for like, if you're in a funny mood, try to write some jokes. It's not that serious. Don't take it too serious and just have fun with it. Because you can always go back and remove stuff, but sometimes you do stuff and you're like, oh, this is corny, this is kind of funny, and people love it. And then also my third tip would be, honestly, I think animals are kind of funny. I mean, this is also subjective, but I've found the more that you include animals, the more the jokes kind of write themselves. Because if you think about an animal, like a funny cat or like a funny raccoon, or like there's lots of like different animals that are they're just kind of funny, the things they do. Like, oh, the animal is randomly screaming. It just kind of makes you chuckle, or they're doing something weird. So just try to think of in your real life things that you think are funny, and try to add elements and characters that are easy to put in humorous situations. So good luck, and thanks for showing up.